Welcome into Believe in Panthers here on Believe Podcast Networks. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson from Tobacco Road Sports Radio, joined by my compadre, Jonathan Stewart, the all-time leading rusher in Carolina Panthers history, brought to you by FanDuel, the number one sports book in the United States. We got a lot to cover. Panthers took on the Cleveland Browns, also known as the Shedeur Sanders Bowl on Friday. If you listen to national media, it's like he's the only player out there playing against 11 test dummies, apparently. We're going to talk about the other side, the Carolina Panthers, and what we saw, what we liked from Friday night. Panthers versus Houston. That's a Saturday game at 1 p.m. You should be able to watch it on the Panthers TV network through local affiliates in North Carolina and across the Panthers radio network with Anish Shroff and Steve Smith, if I'm not mistaken. I think Jake Delhomme was on the call on TV as well. They might be doing double, doing that and radio. The 16th, so Saturday the 16th at 1 p.m., the Panthers traveling to Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. And we'll do some around the league quick hits as well. But Stu, starting off with a bang here, Panthers-Browns on Friday night. Of course, the Panthers didn't win the game, but we don't care so much about that. I'm more interested in who you saw, because I saw you were active on social media during the game. I was going to text you early, like after that first drive, and be like, yo, this is different. And I stopped myself. I was like, nope, not doing it. I do this every year. I'm going to wait. And then the next morning I look up and you're on X like, yes, this happened. Everything's cooking. So I'm like, all right, cool. We was on the same vibe. But who did you see on Friday that kind of maybe not surprised you, but you were like, oh, okay, this dude's flashing right now?
I'm going to start off by just saying Bryce and the chemistry.
It's there. It is
if
there.
If you want to go to chemistry class, sign up for Bryce Young's chemistry class. Basically, man, he just basically proved what an offseason can do. When you have the time, when you have the confidence, and you have the comrades willing and able to join forces, man. You've seen on social media the amount of time they spent together, the trust, the development, and the playbook and timing. And he showcased it, man. You know, T-Mac showed out. I really liked what I saw with him. The connection there between him and Bryce is magical, baby.
I think the best play was the incompletion in the end zone.
Because T-Mac immediately, when he turned around and he said, and he just raised his hand.
Thumbs up.
That's on me.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Because I'll even go and say, you know, people can go back and pull up, maybe look on Panther site or one of those Panther sites on Instagram. During practice, they actually ran that same red zone play in practice against the Cleveland Browns last week. And it was a completion. And so seeing that energy where they were on sync, even though that was an incompletion, the sync moment was the immediate T-Mac raising his hand saying, that's me.
Yeah,
we do that in our sleep. I don't know why I didn't see that. Right?
You can't even do it better than what they did on that. I mean, literally, T-Mac is shifting to the left, and I always hear about separation when it comes to our wide receivers. If you know where the ball is going to be and the defender don't, separation doesn't matter because he doesn't know where to go. And T-Mac goes to the left, loses his guy. Soon as he turns, Bryce is throwing the ball as T-Mac is going to his left with his back turned. So by the time he goes back to his right, turns around, the ball's right here. Like it's literally, It's not like him waiting on it or anything like that. It's right there and it's perfectly thrown. And to me, I'm glad you mentioned that first because to me, I was like, okay, the end of last year wasn't a fluke to me. I know it's a preseason game. I know they're playing Cleveland's second string or whatever, but some of this stuff, it don't matter who you're playing against. It's just, something has clicked.
The ball is being delivered where it's supposed to be delivered on the field, period. Yeah, on time, all of that. So the connection between Bryce and T-Mac, the connection between Bryce and Jalen Coker, the connection between him and Thielen. I mean, there's just a lot that I loved when I watched them on the field. And if this is the floor and this is August, I can't wait to see what the ceiling is.
We didn't even see
Period. Point
Renfro.
blank.
Yeah, Renfro didn't play.
We didn't see Renfro. We didn't get to see Excel. I did see Excel got them. He threw them hands though. I can tell you that.
That defender found out early because that wasn't like pushing and shoving. That Xavier flipped into South Carolina real quick.
he flipped him all the way to South Carolina. Gave him a pop to the head. He didn't even know he was in Bank of America Stadium.
But I like that though. I don't care if it's preseason. Like, a dude is trying to punk you in your home stadium. Like, you can't let that go down. Like,
look, you got beat in the play. That's what got on my nerves. Buddy got beat in the play. The play is over. Now he wants to get all
defender,
territorial. And then XL was like, "Hold on now, the play is over with. You still want some? All right, you gonna get these hands then?"
Yeah, and it is.
But we don't condone that. We don't condone it. But what I do love is that you ain't about to punk me in my stadium, and it's preseason, so. Hopefully he knows it's preseason. He ain't gonna do this in the regular season, which I'm sure he's not. He already apologized to the fan base, which is super classy by him. It don't get much better than that, man. Because people want to come and see you perform. They want to see what you're gonna bring to the table this year. And so he obviously knew, what was at stake when he got kicked out of the game. He went right to the fans, rightfully so, and apologized. So class act by XL, and also class act. By giving him them hands. So
we need to talk. We need to have a serious discussion about Jalen Coker, because it went from him maybe not making the team to, is this wide receiver number 2? Because
in my mind, he was never not making the team.
I mean, either. Like, I was like, Coker proved himself to me last year, and the coaches love him. So it's like, I'm like, he's there. But where was he? Wide receiver 4, 5, 6? Because you kept hearing Hunter Winfrow's name over and over again. And XL's a first rounder. Tet's, he's going to start. Thielen is Thielen. He's going to play that slot. Jimmy Horn Jr. seems to be the most popular player on the team.
That's the next guy I was about to go to. You want to talk about Jimmy?
Let's talk about Jimmy, because he flashed on Friday too. I was
Hemi Horn Jr. When you talk about a guy that shows flash, every time he caught the ball was in his hand. Every time it was in his hand, it just looked like a different type of player on the football field.
Yeah,
explosive. Fast twitch, very certain, getting upfield, like the punt return. I mean, in my mind, who's our punt returner? Him? Him.
Oh, and Blackshear. I think Blackshear's back there.
Blackshear. But when you talk about a guy that can take it to the next level, there's no question. Jimmy Horn Jr. Showcased a lot of good fast twitch is what you want to see in a punt returner. Sure hands. Secure the catch first, obviously. We obviously had some miscues there on punt return. Special teams have to be special. There's a lot of games are determined by bad special team moments. We saw, a lot of miscues, in that department. Turnovers. You can never turn the ball over, especially on your side of the field. Yeah. You're giving up good field position to the opposing team, which, Shador and the Browns were very opportunistic with that. That muff punt, ETN, and, just guys not being aware on the football team, on special teams, running down the field. You have to have a little bit of spatial awareness, a little bit of communication. When the ball's, coming up short, or you feel like people coming into your space, into your bubble, there's certain things that you say, such as Peter, right? Or something to alarm people that there's about to be friendly fire along the way. And that's what they suffer from. And this is what you learn in preseason, right? You learn how to play pro ball. And a lot of the guys on special teams don't get an opportunity to be on the field that much in, real game situations. And so this is one of those moments where it's a learning curve. It's a learning opportunity. But Jimmy Horn Jr., explosive. I love the way he played. I loved how he took advantage of his opportunities to at least showcase what he can do every time he touched the ball.
It's almost, I was trying to think of the last player we had where if they touch the ball, like anything can happen. I think it's Christian McCaffrey. I think probably like the last guy we had where it was just like, you don't know what's going to happen when he gets the ball. And Jimmy Horn Jr.'s got a little bit of that in him where it's like, okay, here we go. Like as soon as he gets the ball, if he's got some space around him, he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna do something. And he seems like one of those kids, and you probably one of them. One of those kids that was, if you're good in football and you're 22, 23, and you're in the NFL, you were probably good in football when you were 8. You were that guy at 8. When you were on Pop Warner, you were probably the quarterback or whoever. They gave you the ball all the time. Jimmy Horn Jr. feels like that guy. Like he was that guy that was that quick, faster than everybody in his class. Like he was the fastest kid in 5th grade, like that guy. And he's still fast and he's good.
Yeah, I loved what the offensive coordinator Canellas and then what they kind of showcased as well, putting him in motion, getting him out into the flat, real quick routes, giving the ball as quick as possible in space. That's what I love to see, the intentionality behind that, because it just lets us know that with this receiving group battle that we're seeing, they're going to try to make a spot for Jimmy, it seems like, because you cannot ignore the fact that this guy is the fastest guy on the team, basically, in my opinion, at this moment, to where the first team defense is saying he's unguardable. Like, how can you guard him?
About a couple of wide receivers, like, which is different to me, like hearing like JC Horn going, yeah, we can't guard him.
Yeah, we can't guard that man. He's too fast. What do you want me to do? You better zone. Zone
this dude up. Zone that dude up too. So it's the first time in a while where we've got, it feels like an abundance of riches in the wide receiver room. And I'm seeing people outside of the Carolinas notice that. I saw Ochocinco on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp. He pointed out he thinks the Panthers might have the best wide receiver room in the whole NFL, the way in terms of mixture of depth and veterans and rookies, size, speed. And I'm like, actually, from 1 to 6, he might have a point. Like, I mean, and it's crazy for us to anoint ourselves as having one of the best groups or rooms in the NFL. But Dan Morgan has been cooking. And again, another guy for me that stood out was the cornerback that we touched on last week, Corey Thornton, the undrafted free agent cornerback from Louisville. He showed out. He got an opportunity to play with JC Horn not playing due to the auto accident or whatever. He hurt his thumb or something. So he got to play a lot more than he probably would have, and he took advantage of his situation. I don't think you can keep Corey Thornton off this team at this point. Like, he actually might be challenging Mike Jackson for that other cornerback 2 spot the way he's been playing. So, I mean, which is great.
It's always good to have competition in the room. That means you're always just, iron sharpens iron, right? You never take your reps, you never take your days for granted. You show up with your briefcase and you put in the work, period, point blank. And I think these younger guys and this coaching staff, I think there's a lot to be said about the coaching staff too, right? These are younger guys getting playing time. Yeah, we're looking at them as steals, but maybe they weren't a steal until they got to the team and they were with good coaching, right? So it's a good fit. It's all about the blend. It's all about the timing of the coaching staff and the roster. And I feel like what we're seeing is the GM understanding what that blend looks like and putting these guys together on a team to have some cohesiveness. I will say the next guy that I had my eye on was Nick Scorton.
He popped.
So Nick Scorton showed a flash of instinct, right, on this. I think it was a tunnel screen or something like that, bubble screen, and he basically shed a block, but immediately he was beelining to a spot on the field where this bubble screen was going, and he got a tackle for loss. And the quick reads, the energy, just being able to pop up on film amongst all the guys on the film, that's hard to do. And when you do that, your first NFL showcasing, that's what we saw in film, and it popped up on pro tape. So I'm excited to see him continue to develop and grow throughout preseason, and it'll be so fun to see what Evero does as far as putting him in positions to excel this season, because a lot, obviously looking at that game and looking at the stats from that game, we gave up some yards, on the outside, right? We didn't secure the edges. But I wonder if there was just more of a point of emphasis on stuffing the middle, right? Because that's something that we suffered from last year, specifically that the Buccaneers game where Bucky Irving was just kind of picking wherever he wanted to go through the middle of our defense. And I feel like we did a pretty good job of stuffing the middle of the field in this preseason game. But we got out leveraged, on the outside, right? We got to secure the edge. And I think even one of the scampers that Shedeur had earlier in the first two quarters of I think the first two series there on their offense, on our defense, we lost outside contain, right?
Yeah.
And those are things that I think you have to be prepared for, obviously, but those are all fixable things. Like, just contain the edge. You didn't get beat. You just didn't do your assignment, right? Those are all things that can be fixable and teachable moments for this defense to continue to get better. And then what I'm excited about even more so is, Derek Brown, right? He wasn't.
Yeah, he didn't play. Yeah.
So you take Derek Brown, Tashawn Wharton. You talk about Patrick Jones,
Bobby Brown.
You talk Bobby Brown. You talk about DJ Wonnum. DJ actually got free there and forced a he had a quarterback pressure there that actually ended the second series. If it wasn't for him, him and Corey Thornton, they made some plays on that second series that really kind of gave me the sense that, okay, we actually have some guys here. And even with the pass rush thought from last year, everyone was talking about we need a pass rush. The problem last year is that we got so far down and our running defense wasn't good enough to where offenses had to pass the ball. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to run. They didn't have to pass the ball. So, and we were in this no man's land here of, man, we can't stop the run. And right now, if we're too aggressive trying to stop the run, they might pass it. So
right over top of our heads. Yep.
So there's just that gray area where now I think we do have the pieces. And that's what's exciting about this Carolina Panther team is that we went out this free agency and we might have cooked, and I don't think everybody understands the seasoning that we went and acquired. But please believe people will be fed.
Yeah, and I didn't think that Dan Morgan in any one of these off seasons with the free agency period, I didn't think he signed anybody that was like a needle mover, like one dude. It's like, oh man, we got him. That kind of. He signed a lot of depth pieces that are going to fit in and rotate in and out, which is what we were missing, in terms of depth. You mentioned Nick Scorton. The play that I remember from Friday night, Shedeur had the ball, and he rolled out towards his left, and Scorton was like the first guy there, and he got blocked on the ground. Shedeur starts getting chased, and he literally runs like 30-plus yards in the backfield just trying to avoid Panther defenders back there. Makes it all the way back around to the right-hand side and starts running towards the sideline.
Yeah.
Who meets him at the sideline? Nick Scorton, who was ran all the way across the field after getting knocked on his behind to push him out of bounds. And I was like, that's Nick Scorton, because I saw him hit the ground earlier. I'm like, he got up and ran across the field. That's when I was like, okay, he's one of them. He's one of them to do so. And that's
a guy that loves football, that knows how to play through things, right? You get knocked down, you get back up. You've learned that since Pee Wee. Right. And if you haven't learned it, that's why you're not in the pros.
Yeah.
If you haven't learned it and you are in the pros, you won't be there for long.
That's why you sit at the house watching the pros.
Mm-hmm. But Ricky Flashes, that was one of my guys that I was happy to see show up on tape in a big way.
I will say shout out to I don't think Canales was calling plays on Friday. I think it was the offensive coordinator. How do you say his name? Brad Is it? I think it was him calling it. Shout out to them, because, and maybe you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, it didn't feel like they were running vanilla on Friday night. It was fairly vanilla, but they were doing some things, like you said, with motion and movements to kind of get guys in singular space, like with Jimmy Horn. Like, it didn't feel like they were just running vanilla like they did the past couple of preseasons. It looked like they were trying to evaluate their players, and to do it, they had to run some of these plays Now, granted, Andy Dalton was in there for a large chunk of it, and Andy's known to kind of, throw it downfield. Like, throw it 5 yards, he might try to throw it 45. So if it's there, he's going to try it, especially in a preseason game. But I want to give a shout out to them that it felt like they're a little bit more aggressive this year. Now, we'll see as we carry over here to Carolina versus the Texans on Saturday. And before we get into what to watch for that, of course, FanDuel Sportsbook, number one sports website on the planet. And, of course, our partners this year here at Believe. And Carolina Panthers at Houston Texans odds. This is the part of the pod that will label Stu Teaches America How to Bet, because I don't really I don't bet often at all, really, other than like a scratch-off lottery ticket. So I'm learning through him. And right now they have the Texans favored in this game at -3 on the spread. So, of course, the Panthers at +3 on the spread. And that's at a -110 for both. The money line on Carolina is +130 as it stands right now. The money line on the Texans is -155. The over-under on the game is 38.5 total here. And I was telling Stu some of these fun bets that are kind of back here that you can do on FanDuel. There's a winning margin one back here where, correct me if I'm wrong, Stu, but the Panthers right now, it's kind of one of these bets where if the Panthers win the game by 14 points or more, granted, this is preseason week 2, but if the Panthers win it by 14 points or more, it's +850. So if I wager $10 on that and the Panthers win this game by 14 points or more, I win $85, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So I'm like, I might actually, don't tell the missus, but I might throw a little something on. Now,
you telling on yourself at this point.
I know. It's not like shaking little. What y'all doing Panthers this week? Like, oh, you're gonna bet, are you?
Why are you mad, Desmond? I was $10.
It was $10. I lost this $10. But I was looking at that and I was like, man,
yeah,
bet $10 and maybe win 85, but the Panthers just.
So let's break this down. So you see here the Carolina Panthers +130 money line, and Houston Texans 155. And so that's basically saying that, FanDuel believes that Houston will win this game, with the odds being -155. And they have them at -3, right?
Right.
And so -3 with the -110. And so they have +3. Panthers lose by 3 or less, right? And so basically it's a push if they win. Let me see here.
So if you bet on that money line for
if Houston wins by exactly 3, that's a push, right?
Right.
So you get your money back. Everyone walks away even.
Now that might change between now and Saturday, though, right?
Yeah. The odds can definitely change depending on injuries and roster moves and all that kind of stuff. So you got to stay attuned throughout the week. And that's kind of what's so cool about sports betting that I've learned is it helps fans engage, right? It's like, oh man, like the bet was this. Well, I want to wait and see if the odds change to make my bet sweeter or something, right?
Right.
But basically, Texas money line at -155 means you got to put down 155 just to win $100. Okay, that's really what that means. If you bet $155, you win $100.
On which one again? Say it again. On the
money line, 155
for Houston. So like and FanDuel's really cool because you can go in here and actually kind of see what you win if you bet it and whatnot. So if you bet $100 on that money line, like Stu was saying, you'd win $64.52 if Houston won. If you bet 100 on Carolina to win at +130, you win $130. So you win $30. So it'll tell you kind of what you can win or what you can't win, that kind of thing. You can parlay some of this stuff as we get to the seasons. But again, our partnership with FanDuel's all season long here at Believe in Panthers. So you'll be able to get some betting odds from us throughout the season too, as Stu Teaches America How to Bet, brought to you by FanDuel. I wanted, before we get out of here, I wanted to go around the league real quick because there's a couple things that I wanted to talk with you about. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is this news that came down from ESPN about a week ago. It really was right before our last show. We just didn't get a chance to talk about it. ESPN's going to acquire NFL Network and rights to NFL Red Zone from the NFL. In exchange, NFL will be receiving I think a 10% equity stake in Disney, the parent company of ESPN. ESPN is about to go direct to consumer. For me personally, a lot of people know I own Tobacco Road Sports Radio here in North Carolina. We cover a lot of different sports, and the ACC in general. I'm in Kernersville, so I'm literally in the dead center of the state. I need ACC Network to be able to even watch the stuff that I'm talking about on a daily basis, and to get it, I have to go through ESPN. ESPN has been married to the cable company since their inception. You have to have like Sling or YouTube TV or Fubo or whatever that holds ESPN so you can watch it. This is a game changer for me because now I can pay ESPN directly $30 a month, and I'll get all the ESPN channels I was already getting, SEC Network, ACC Network. They announced that WWE pay-per-view events are going to be moving to ESPN, so you can watch those there off of Peacock. So I'll be watching WWE pay-per-views, which I always do. The landscape is shifting in terms of how we watch sports because they just announced a couple of days ago Paramount and CBS come to an agreement with UFC where all of those pay-per-views are going to be done for. Pay-per-views are the only thing that was left for UFC. Everybody else kind of gone away from them. They're moving the UFC events to Paramount Plus, and CBS will have the 4 big former pay-per-view events that UFC had. The other numbered shows they do, like monthly or whatever, they'll all be on Paramount Plus, and Paramount Plus says they're not going to raise their rate. So now all of a sudden for $8 or whatever it is, you'll have access to every UFC match there is in the year. All this starts in 2026. I want to get your opinion on the NFL Network and Red Zone stuff going to ESPN. Do you think it will affect the product? Because ESPN's in the middle of buying everything inside the NBA is going to ESPN next year because of the deal they struck with TNT. So you're going to see Charles Barkley and Shaq and those guys on ESPN. Like they're turning into the literal worldwide leader of sports, the way they've always said they were. Do you think this is good or bad for sports? Real quick here, Stu.
I think this is great because what it does is, especially for the NFL, right? The NFL now is going to be able to utilize ESPN's hub and media and all the video, all the media stuff of content, how they create stuff. They're going to be able to basically just pan that over to the professionals.
Yeah.
Not that NFL is not professional, it's just more so now the NFL can focus in more on the details of the game. They can focus more on the details of how to grow the game, right? Focus more on the shield is essentially kind of how I see that. But it's such a big boy move. Really what the NFL said was, look, NBA, Lakers, Yankees, hockey, whoever you are, I'm your daddy.
Yeah, it don't matter.
I'm your daddy. Okay, we got 10% of this, and so
easy.
What I like about it is they're preparing for the future, man. You know, they're basically saying, hey, we want to make sure we can pull our weight to be able to compete with the top dogs, which is not other sports. Other sports are not the top dogs in this conversation. Other dogs are Google, Apple, Amazon,
yeah.
Like
Facebook.
those are Meta, right? And so this is where the NFL is. That's how big they are, right? And so they're basically saying, hey, look, we're good at the content and all this, but what we want to make sure we have access to everybody's thumbs, right? Streaming.
Yep.
We need everybody's phones, right? Shoot, hey, it might be an NFL phone one day.
Hey, Facebook tried to do that a couple years ago. They tried to make a Facebook phone and they couldn't figure it out. But
that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
For stuff like you can bet directly through that. Like, yeah, actually, you know what? That sounds like somebody's already trying to figure that out.
So all they have to do is just create a whole different application or something like that within the phone, right? So that's where all of this is at, and they're competing with these bigger, brands that have the eyeballs. The NFL thrives because they have eyeballs. They need now the attention of TikTok. They need now the attention of Instagram, Meta, and you get that through streaming, and you get that through people being on their phones. So if you are teaming up with ESPN, Disney, all of those conglomerates, like, you are now having visual opportunities to be seen.
Yeah,
that's what this is all about. And if we, especially myself, like I played this game, I love this game. I'm in full, support of what's happening. Now, one thing you have to be prepared for, because everything is not going to just be butter and cream out the gate. I saw some stat where, to watch all the games next year on all the platforms, you're gonna come out of pocket about $1,100.
See, I saw that, but it's not really. It's almost like it's only taken into account those that only watch the NFL. Because I'm like, I'm one of these people, but I'm going to actually save money because I can get rid of some apps that I'm having to run because I need to get them to get to other things. So when this all starts, I can actually cancel.
You not going to watch every game, but there's people out there that watch every. If you are NFL football fanatic,
there's red zone nuts that just watch red zone.
You're gonna be paying $1,100.
See, and people are mad about that. People are frustrated about that. WWE fans in particular are mad because they're like, we got to pay $30 a month to ESPN to watch these pay-per-views now. And I'm like, 10 years ago, you were paying $60 a month straight to WWE for the pay-per-view. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and you're getting NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, like all this different stuff you're getting, and you're complaining about it for $30. I'm like, this is the new. Like, this is 2025. So, like, when this starts, and I think it starts like in the next couple of days, actually. I want to say August 16th is when ESPN happens. And I just saw that ESPN and Fox Sports have gone to an agreement where you can buy ESPN and Fox Sports as a bundle together. So you can get all the Fox stuff too, or you can buy them separately because Fox is about to do the same thing, go direct to consumer. But as soon as it starts, I can stop my Sling subscription, which is $60 a month by itself. And I'm only watching ESPN channels and CNN for news, you know what I'm saying? But I have HBO Max. I can get all that on HBO Max already. So I don't need it other than ESPN. So that'll be there. I can cancel that. I can cancel Hulu because Hulu's getting folded into Disney Plus. That's another $20-something a month. I already have Netflix, and Netflix is getting in the game. We saw last year they did all the Christmas Day football games and stuff. They're doing even more of that this year. They're going to have NBA games, WWE, Raw is already over there. To me, it's going to save me money, but I watch and talk about all these things. I can get it if you're a WWE fan, you could care less about the NFL or NBA. And now you got to pay $30. Yeah, you probably need to start watching some NFL then make that value work for you, because like the days of just singularly watching this or that and paying $5 or whatever are done. But this should be really good regarding it. Before we get out of here, though, normally we do Stu's Take of the Week. I don't know if we didn't talk about it. I don't know if you thought of something you wanted to bring up here before we left, something you saw good or bad. Last time we're wrong.
Well, before we do that, speaking of WWE, I know the fans are really upset about Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
You watch WWE?
Yeah. No.
Yo, I did not know. Why did you tell me? I didn't know you were a WWE guy. Like, come on, man.
All I gotta say is it's a cold world. It's a cold world. WWE, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Its contract is supposed to expire in August anyway. Hers too, I think. So,
but look, man,
I don't know if it's a work or not. But
hey, read the room. Okay?
They did the same thing with R-Truth like a month ago. Like, and then they had to bring him back.
These are people that y'all losing that much money that y'all can't pay these people?
Dude, WWE just made like $1.7 billion or whatever from the deal they just did with ESPN.
It's crazy, man. Like, I don't get it. Like,
they got money.
They got so you telling me there's no reason?
No,
that's all I got.
TKO, the parent company that owns WWE and UFC, in the past week has made like $8 billion off these two deals they just made, with UFC going to Paramount and WWE going to ESPN, because SmackDown's moving to Peacock and Raw is already on Netflix, and they got billions of dollars for those deals. So they literally made like $8-9 billion in like 8 days.
It just goes to show you, man.
They got it.
Everybody is disposable, man, and that's the sad truth. And Karrion Kross and Scarlett, y'all are the fan favorites. You guys are fan favorites. I really appreciate the duo that you guys provide for couples.
I never expected
especially being married. It's nice to see y'all get in the ring and tear things up. Hopefully we get to see y'all on some other platform, or maybe, just maybe this divorce is not
Some people think it's a work. Some people think it's a work. Let me find out. I can start putting WWE segments in these Believe in Panther podcasts real quick.
But going back to football.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to football. Just had to throw that out there because I was like, God dang, what's going on over there?
I love it.
I don't like that. They need to figure that out. Let me go here. So
we got a little WWE each episode going.
So Texans.
Yeah.
Right. I think what I'm looking for this week, and this is just a take from me. What I'm looking for this week, this preseason football, we went and had, certain successes here, saw some shiny moments in the Cleveland game. What I'm looking now is to see whether or not we fix the problems that we saw on the last preseason game against the Browns. Turnovers, penalties. We didn't have a lot of penalties, but we had costly penalties, right?
Wrong time, yeah.
Wrong timing, where we get from being in, 3rd and 5 to 3rd and 12 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just things where we take ourselves out of the ball game. We take ourselves out of the playbook. Costly mistakes. As in those next week, as we go into Houston, play Houston here at home, I think. Yeah, it's a home game. And we
no, we're at Houston.
We're at Houston.
Yeah,
okay,
Saturday 1 o'clock. Yeah.
And so taking those things in consideration as we go into our week of preparation and having these joint practices, there's going to be a lot of noise, there's going to be a lot of chatter, there's going to be a lot that you have to be able to learn to compose as a professional athlete. And when you get out there on game day, you have to still be composed. You can't just be jumping out. You can't, just the stupid penalties that can be easily wiped away. So I want to see them figure those things out. But I also want to see them stop the run. I want the stopping the run. It looks like whether you run inside, you're stopped. Whether you try to bounce it, we have outside containment. The outside containment piece, I want to see us show up huge. And now I want to remind everyone's been talking about CJ Stroud. Everyone's talking about the Texans and they're talking about CJ Stroud, right? But who you not talking about is Nick Chubb. Okay. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a mistake.
That boy good.
This is a guy who before injury averaged over 5 yards per carry for his career, dog. That's rare. That's a rare air.
Yeah.
People forget how violent and efficient he was in running. Okay. So
he's been around for a minute too.
So these DBs, okay, I want y'all to bring y'all big boy pads. Okay, because if Nick Chubb is in there, please believe if they let him run in this preseason, he's gonna be running angry. He's been sitting out for a while. So and to be a guy like him and to be, in a position where people are questioning whether or not they want you on your team. If I'm him, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Because he is obviously a rare breed, a rare talent, and a guy that everybody should want on their team. Obviously the injuries have been so terrible in the sense of how, some guys don't come back from the injuries that he suffered, right?
Right.
But this is why you should absolutely fear him, because he's a guy that has come back from these injuries. And so this is a great opportunity for the Panthers' new look defensively up front to be able to take on a rushing attack and prove a point. So
yeah. For me, and we'll end it right there. That was excellent. The only thing I'm looking forward to is continuation of the offense, the first string offense. I want to see Bryce more with these wide receivers. This will be the first time the Panthers and the Texans have played each other since Bryce and CJ's rookie year, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to say that was the one win that Bryce had was against the Texans. It was a weird game. There was no touchdowns. It was like 9-6 or something like that. It was like a rock fight, basically. But I remember our defense harassing CJ Stroud that entire day. And that was really the story, more so than anything that Bryce really did during that game. But he got, credit for the win, being the start quarterback. It's going to be the first time they see each other since then. They're both friends. They both grew up together in California. They know each other well. CJ got that push from rookie year where it was like, oh, did the Panthers make a mistake? And now it feels like every other quarterback in that draft has gone south except for Bryce. Bryce has gone upward trajectory-wise. CJ, I can't really blame him for last year. He lost a lot of pieces due to injury. His offensive line started falling apart. And when that happens, you start looking a little bit like Bryce Young did rookie year. When you don't have an offensive line in front of you and you got nobody to throw the ball to or hand it off to, kind of out there on an island. So I get it with CJ Stroud, but we didn't see the stink that we saw when they were talking about Bryce in the same situation. So I want to see those two guys go at it. And I want to see more of the back end of the wide receiver room. Wide receivers 4, 5, and 6. So that would be, I guess, Jimmy Horn Jr., Hunter Renfrow, and I don't know who the 6th guy. David Moore.
David Moore. We got to see XL because XL.
Yeah, we didn't see him a lot.
He got thrown out the game because he was throwing hands, which is okay.
Hey, man. Yeah, totally fine with us. Just make sure the ref don't see it next time and walk off.
Get him in the stomach.
Go look at the Josh Norman Odell Beckham Jr. game from 2015.
The ref saw that.
They let it go.
Look, man, let's just see what happens.
They fought all day, like all day long. Like nobody's getting thrown out here, refs. No flags or nothing.
Man, that was a hell of a season, boy. Yeah. We had all kind of stuff going on that year.
So we're going to end it right